Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this masterclass. I'm very delighted to welcome you here in our English speaking session. I'm here together with three outstanding colleagues. First of all, with me is Jessica Grote. I think you know her. She was a co-moderator this day and will be the next days. She's located in Zurich and is working for Oracle. And also together with me is Andy Stevens. He's from Boxfusion. Boxfusion is an international IT consulting company that helps logistics service providers and manufacturers to use Oracle software for their logistics solutions. And last not least, he will be joined with Yilmaz Öztürk. He is also with Boxfusion Consulting and helping logistics managers to have a better customer experience. And this is what this masterclass is about. It's about how to have better customer experience in the field of logistics. And I think the very good thing of this masterclass is that we have an international view on logistics coming from people not from Germany, coming from English located consultants. And I think we will have lots of time after the presentation for our Q&A session. And maybe some of you guys watching us now have also maybe questions regarding logistics issues and Brexit. And I think therefore we will have very good experts. So I'm very interested to see what we can learn now from our colleagues from the other side of the channel. And therefore, I would like to give them the floor. And I think it is Andy who will now start his presentations. And I would just like to give you another thing, just focus on the right side of this platform, hop in, because we will have some polls during this presentation. So Andy, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Christian. Much appreciated. Thank you for the introduction. I was hoping not to have to talk about Brexit too much today, but I'm sure it will crop up. So I just thought I'd kick off with a brief introduction about Boxfusion and Boxfusion Consulting, just to say, as Christian said, we specialize in customer experience solutions and technology from Oracle, and we work across industry. So working with customers both in the logistics sector, but also manufacturers and construction companies where logistics plays such an important part in their business as well. So we crucially also work with business to integrate customer experience solutions within existing landscapes to drive real business value. And we've won awards over the last few years, but also seen a number of our customers win awards for their customer experience achievements as well. So today, I wanted to just introduce some of the main themes of the session. So within customer experience expectations are now higher than ever. Customers are more demanding and expect more from business than ever before. And the need to handle the unexpected is now essential in all businesses. And of course, it will be very relevant to you all today as an audience. But also, back office data and supply chain systems are often siloed away from the front office where our customer experience solutions are really focused. And this presents a number of challenges. So demand for exceptional customer service is growing, as I said, especially among the millennial generation. And this will continue. And the need to handle the unexpected is now essential for all businesses. Accenture surveyed 25,000 consumers across 22 countries to explore the COVID-19 pandemic and how it changed customers and consumers' mindsets. They found major changes in the consumer outlook. For example, 50% said that the pandemic caused them to reevaluate their personal purpose, but also their priorities. But importantly, Accenture's study concluded that many of the changes in buyer behavior was not a case of a change in direction, but more that it sped up the pace of change that was already underway with the progression of digital technology. And this is something that I want to come back to as we go through the session. And that third theme around back office data and disconnection from front office is, I think, crucial today more than ever. So for us in customer experience, we're talking about marketing and sales and service interactions with consumers and customers. And that disconnection with back office solutions impacts the ability of companies to meet heightened customer expectation demands. And to, the way that they react to those unexpected events is handicapped by this disconnection. If I take a recent example from one of our manufacturing customers, as Christian noted, with the Brexit rule changes that have come in around shipping of goods in and out of the EU, combined with a pandemic that happened at the same time, with the associated supply chain challenges there, trying to ensure that products brought in for repair were received and returned to the customers on time in line with their expectations became a huge challenge. The right paperwork and labeling on shipments needed to be in place, and this required alignment across business functions, whether it be legal, warehousing, customer service teams, for example. And this proved to be a very difficult challenge where systems were not integrated well together. And I'm sure they were not alone in facing this challenge. But this disconnection can hamper greatly the ability to provide this ultimate customer experience. And so that's what the next 40 minutes or so will focus in on. And this, of course, is set against a background of many challenges around us today in 2022. So how can companies look to improve and enhance customer experience and that overall feeling that customers have when engaging with their brands? So I want to spend a few minutes quickly touching on a few of the key challenges around us today. But before looking at them, I wanted to use a poll, and Christian's going to help me here, to ask you, first of all, for your perspectives on the most important challenges that you're facing today.
Okay, so as Andy said, I hope we got this started because it's no rocket science. Just click on the button polls. It's between chat and Q&A, and just answer the question from Andy. It was which of these are the most important factors for your business today? So we will just give you some seconds to think about these questions and to fill out and to show us what is your what is your main challenge. I think it works there. I see some people just answering. Maybe more and more will come to it.
That's fine, Christian. We can carry on, and people can continue to answer the poll as I progress through the next few slides. That'd be fine. Okay, so thank you for helping out there. We'll come back to the results later. So just in terms of some of the challenges around us, firstly, supply chain bottlenecks. So over the past couple of years, we've seen the COVID pandemic, Brexit, we've seen raw material shortages, we've even seen the Suez Canal blocked by the Ever Given in 2021, and now we obviously have the conflict in the Ukraine. But these are all things that have impacted supply chains unexpectedly, all within a short space of time, and inevitably some pain has been felt by consumers. And a number of factors have also combined to create a perfect storm of skills shortages that are impacting businesses and supply chains across the world. The shortage of heavy goods vehicle drivers, for example, is widespread across Europe, reaching, I understand, 80,000 in Germany, and I think even higher in the UK. and 400,000 across the whole of the EU. And raw materials shortages, increased risks, oil prices rising, labour shortages are just some of the things that have been pushing up business costs, which is another key concern at the moment. And it's been reported the price of transporting goods across Europe is set to jump by more than a third as oil prices rise and stricter regulations drive cost inflation. And the onslaught of factors could spur a cost increase of up to 35% from levels seen in mid-2020. And with governments globally starting to respond in a more coordinated way to the scientific community's warnings on the realities of climate change, we can see that more regulations are on their way. And this, these are already a reality today, but they will increase as the targets and pressure on governments to do more increases. As mentioned at the outset, this is a reality for all businesses today. Customers' expectations are ever increasing and set to continue to rise. And customers are more and more fickle. They're less inclined to brand loyalty than they were in the past. And with digital technology innovations driving change, this trend will continue. And lastly, the other challenge facing most businesses is being able to meet the needs for timely data analysis and reporting, so crucial to making effective, rapid decisions. And this is often a result of disparate data silos within the business. A recent Oracle survey into the greatest challenges in the logistics sector saw respondents highlight cost control, but also a lack of real-time visibility into shipments and problems with data analysis and reporting. So all of these challenges, what do they mean for customer experience? Because they represent both threats and opportunities. So firstly, we see that personalization across marketing, sales, and services interactions can help consumers to feel more appreciated and valued by your business. And that's where companies often need to surface data from back office systems in a timely way in order to satisfy customers. Secondly, providing for self-service is critical today. It helps businesses manage unpredictable spikes in customer needs due to shocks globally affecting the supply chain. And it removes potential sources of frustration. It helps customers' expectations be met and provides for flexibility and ease of resolving problems. Customer interactions with business are non-linear today. You cannot control the channel or a time that a customer will reach out to you. They demand and expect flexibility in how, when, and where they choose to contact you. And you need to be ready to adapt as these expectations continue to rise. However, all the steps that you take for customer experience improvements can benefit hugely from incrementally removing data silos so that your customers can self-serve the status of an order, for example, or receive more personalized communications due to richer insights, and your speed to serve customers improves when internal teams have that visibility across business functions. So I'm going to now ask you for the second time to take a look at the polls section. I would like to do a second poll. This time, I want to ask the question of which customer experience considerations are, or which consideration is the most important for your business from a short list. And again, I'd like to sort of return to these results later.
Yeah, you can see the questions on the right side. I will give them the results via chat like last time.
Thank you, Christian. Okay, so I'm going to move on and we'll return to those results, but it'd be fantastic to get your inputs to help align aligned what we've seen and what we see speaking to our customers with the key challenges and the key drivers that are important to you today. So I want to use the graphic on screen now to show an indicative maturity curve that we use for assessing businesses' customer experience excellence. It's really a very high level view and should definitely be treated as in the sense that it's not a one size fits all model. For the purpose of today, I've simplified the details mentioned at each stage just to give you a very quick insight into the sorts of things that companies might be doing or thinking about when addressing customer experience within their businesses. But more and more now it's accepted that gains can be made incrementally and not necessarily via a major transformation program, which can lack the agility required. So you will see companies able to dip into things that happen at each of these levels, whilst not necessarily achieving all of the factors at each level. They can make incremental gains and steps without the need for a large transformation technology program, which traditionally could run for many years. So if I jump into stage one, here you'll see, or we see, that data between teams and business functions is very much siloed. However, the business is thinking at this stage already about the customer experience at a basic level and introducing digital solutions to support this. So you might see customer service tools that focus on traditional channels like phone or email, and they might have a basic FAQ section on a support portal on their website, for example. And for many businesses 2 years ago, this was adequate. Whilst there was a desire to innovate and do more, it wasn't an immediate priority. In many cases, however, the level of disruption that followed meant that customers needed to accelerate their plans and do more quickly. One of our customers found that their traditional call center shut down overnight, as many did with the pandemic in March 2020, and with a sudden need to implement new channels such as live agent chat or messaging, as well as modernize their agents' tools so that they could be cloud-based and accessible anywhere as staff were suddenly confined to working remotely, where hadn't been the case previously. And this then took that organization and others beyond basic service, away from the really entry-level customer service solutions. And then from a sales perspective, at this level, again, you will see organizations that have invested in some basic Salesforce automation tools, and again, they're somewhat siloed from the rest of the business. So there is a tool for sales. Typically, user adoption won't necessarily be very high, but the most important thing at this level is there isn't that cross business function, cross line of business integration that can really deliver the benefits. So now let's take a look at stage 2, where we can start to see some of the benefits for customer experience of connecting front and back office and removing the silos that we saw at stage 1. So here, operational teams and automated systems working from a unified enterprise view provide a consistency in messaging. So firstly, self-service is a very important trend within customer experience at the moment, and it's been the huge growth area for the customer experience space since the pandemic of March 2020. And this is where many organizations have sought to introduce new channels and expand the ability for customers to serve themselves, answer themselves, and again, capturing data of interest for the back office, but also bringing back office data to the front office and to that ability to self-serve has been an important trend for the last 2 years. Customer data management. This is another important trend at stage 2, where businesses are investing in data quality across the enterprise, starting to bring together data from disparate sources and allow cross-departmental data sharing as a result. It can help to reduce errors in business processes, which all feeds back to an improved customer experience. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about a use case with connected sales. So connected sales and bringing together sales data, bringing together teams is again a potential benefit for many organizations around data quality, reducing errors, increasing efficiency, and driving towards meeting those high customer expectations. And I want to talk a little bit about customer in the UK, Hermes, who we've been working with for a number of years. Both their business focuses on a combination of B2B contracts to ship deliveries on behalf of major retailers and other major organizations, as well as small businesses and small and medium enterprises. And they also provide the B2C customer service for managing support for those deliveries. And they had a number of key challenges that will be familiar to you. They have major peak periods in demand during the average year, which has been exacerbated by some of the challenges we've spoken about over the last 2 years. And they address some of this with a chatbot and other customer service tools back before the pandemic in 2019 to support their contact center. But from a sales perspective, that's been something we've put particular focus on over the last 12 months. I wanted to take a moment to touch on some of the challenges that they have been tackling, which may be familiar to you. So prior to their journey, they had a very disconnected system. This basic representation of their core systems in the front office showed that where a new commercial customer or small or large business was onboarding to Hermes, these were the applications or solutions that were involved. And I want to highlight many of the manual processes that were involved. So what we have here was a very manual set of processes that we've been helping Hermes through the provision of digital solutions to help their sales team and remove those data silos. So previously, a customer would fill out a form on a website, which would generate an email that would be coming to a customer service team. They would then determine which sales team to pass that inquiry to. An email would get forwarded to a sales team's mailbox. They would then send Word documents and Excel documents out to the customer to fill out with critical details related to the service they wanted from or they were interested in. The sales team would manually key an opportunity once they heard back from the customer into their sales CRM. They would then create a quote and price it using Excel before updating the opportunity. The customer would then get sent a quote manually by the salesperson over email. And then once agreed with the customer, the salesperson would talk with finance internally to gain their approval for the quote. If approved, finance would then generate a contract and send that to the salesperson, who would sign it and send it out to the customer. And the salesperson would key everything into their task tracking solution, which would enable IT to then manually work through the onboarding steps to set them up as a customer within the business in the back office. So quite a lot of steps where something can go wrong, data can get lost, data can get rekeyed in the wrong way, and plenty of opportunities for the customer to become frustrated or not have visibility of how their process was coming along. What we've sought to do is provide Hermes working closely with them with a digital solution which really focuses on integration at the core. So it isn't about replacing all of their applications, but more linking them together and bridging the gaps between those systems. And what this has now got is a system where sales and finance are interacting with the same data on the same solutions, and together working that through that same process, but on a digital basis without the need for manual rekeying. And this enables them to reduce the time to onboard a client, increase their customer service levels, reduce complaints accordingly, and provide a much quicker process for finance to step in and make their approvals and keep pricing up to date and consistent across all opportunities for all salespeople. I'm going to quickly click through some of the screens that they have that are, in this case, customer facing as well as internal facing, and so much as opposed to filling out Word documents and Excel documents. Customers here go through a guided process, taking them through the initial inquiry and qualification stage, where they can provide details about what their business is looking to achieve with Hermes. As they step through that guided process, all of this data is being stored via the integration hub within the single system, the single CRM. At the point that they reach the end of that data collection process, a lead is created within the front-end sales CRM. And internally, the salesperson can now pick up that lead, and they don't have any need to rekey data at any stage going forward. As they progress through pricing, which is all managed again with new pricing capability, which enables finance and sales to collaborate on the creation of this quote, again through a guided process, and copies can then be sent out for approval and tweaking with the customer, all in one place for creation, approval, and contract generation, and utilizing the same information captured during qualification, as it's all within the same system. Finally, once the contract is signed, the process concludes with onboarding for the customer, again online and joined up experience. So without going through every part of the new solution, I wanted to give a brief flavor as to a way of hinting at some of the benefits that can be achieved through an automated and connected solution for sales. Crucially, Hermes have opened up this single solution to stakeholders in different parts of the business without the need for manual rekeying of data or storing of data in multiple silos within the business. And the end customer is the real winner, with the reduced time to onboard and reduced frustration in the process. And returning to the maturity model, I wanted to quickly take a look at stage 3. So we're starting to see at this stage a more personalized and data-driven approach. So within customer service, especially, we see conversational support becoming a reality, and this has been a big trend over the last couple of years. So leveraging voice for digital assistants, both in an external and internal landscape. And we've particularly seen the interest in customer service teams handling large spikes in demand while keeping customers satisfied. And we've seen customers who witness 10 to 15 times demand over the course of a day for their customer service teams, just because the British government was making an announcement that changed the way that people would behave from moving forward, and that people became worried about the implications for their interactions with business. I'm going to quickly talk next and show you a very quick chatbot scenario, which is one that we've built in a couple of organizations, which combines meeting the customer's need for self-service with the automation of back-end lookups, back office lookups. So it simplifies what can often be multiple systems for a single agent to look in to get an answer to something and bring back in one rapid transaction. And it's an example of thinking about a great customer experience, but tackling some of the challenge of siloed data without the need for a huge transformation project. So hopefully this will play for you. So it's a simple flow that shows a customer inquiring about a laptop that they've ordered that has not arrived. Now the chatbot is going to ask for an order reference, but as is often the case, especially if you are mobile, you don't have access to the order reference right away. So the chatbot requests other details in order to authenticate you. And having done that, it looks up the customer's latest order and returns details for the customer to confirm. This lookup could be within a CRM, but or equally any existing solution really. And we've seen both. As long as the required details to look up the customer's order are requested and used, the chatbot can automate all of this super quickly. From there, the chatbot can have some intelligence based on the initial intent of the customer that they want to know where their order is. So showing a little empathy before updating the customer on the status of the order. So we knew that the customer intimated that their delivery might be delayed, so we can check that and then offer an apology on the basis of the data that we've pulled back from the back end. And then they can update the customer, or the chatbot can update the customer on the status of the order. And this is really the most important element to highlight. So through automation of integration, the chatbot can be programmed to look in one or many systems and collate data before establishing exactly the status and what to inform the customer. So we've seen businesses where call center agents would need to log in or cycle through many different systems as they don't have and to check the status, and often they wouldn't have access to all of the possible systems where they would need to check where a delivery or where a product is in the life cycle between fulfillment and shipping. So this ability to automate and bring consistency to the process with an integrated chatbot within split seconds is where it becomes a very powerful tool for improved customer experience. But without that ability to look into the back office, the benefits of the tool are greatly reduced. Okay, so also within stage 3, we have the ability to perform highly personalized marketing, potentially across different communication channels. But also with the right architecture in place, the ability to leverage data from across the business in order to do this personalization. So taking an example from a customer of ours, that I believe this example will be common for many of you in the audience. Please consider the scenario where you're offering a customer a warranty on a product that they purchased from you. The warranty registration may be captured and recorded in a platform for potential later use in the event of a fault or a claim by the customer. But this detail about the warranty itself can be highly important for marketing teams going forward. Our customer wanted to be able to segment and personalize communications about extended warranty products for a particular product to those customers whose warranty was about to expire. Those who definitely owned one of the products covered in the campaign, and potentially adjust the campaign segment for anyone who'd claimed against their warranty previously. Being able to merge and integrate details about the customer's warranty makes the message so much more personal and relevant within the marketing space. And therefore, it's likely to be more successful and perceived better by the customer. And in the same way as that personalized marketing starts to become more possible with the back office integration, we see the same with personalized sales. And similarly with the customer service chatbot, we also see digital sales assistants and chatbots for sales teams becoming more and more prevalent in the marketplace. Again, providing ease of use for internal employees as well as focusing on external. And we talked a bit about some of the other benefits for sales, but here we've mentioned as well the pricing optimization. So integrating finance data into the front office Salesforce tools for better quoting tends to cause businesses to really take notice when they look at the potential savings or better understand the losses that may have been accrued within the quoting process through inaccurate pricing data. And finally, I wanted to touch very briefly on stage 4. And this is really the nirvana stage where things are highly automated, intelligent, predictive, and often utilizing rich artificial intelligence within a connected front and back office. And this leading customer experience stage is likely to mean many different things to every business. So I think you can think about IoT devices feeding real-time data that predicts issues that may be about to occur so you can take preemptive action. Some companies use augmented reality to provide a more immersive and guided customer service. But at its core, this is where data from across the enterprise is used to be predictive and proactive and really wow your customers. The customer experience-wide marketing use cases are also something you can take advantage of once you have that fully integrated data. Utilizing data from supply chain or finance, for example, to provide hyper personalization and proactive actions within your marketing. And in the same way for sales, you can again see artificial intelligence deriving next best actions or cross-selling actions and proactive communications with customers based on real-time intelligence from across your enterprise. As I start to wrap up and want to take a look at these poll results, I want to just do a bit of a recap that really customer experience maturity is very much not a case of one size fits all. So businesses are doing elements that will fall into different parts of this maturity curve and offering solutions to customers in some parts of the business that can be really advanced while other aspects may be lagging. But this intersects with what I think is the key consideration, which is that need to connect front and back office data for major gains. Remember, this doesn't mean needing to embark on a huge transformation program across the business. Small and incremental gains are absolutely possible. So there's 3 key takeaways that I would want to mention. Firstly, personalization. So this in the customer experience space across marketing, sales and service, thinking about how to personalize your interactions. They will help customers to feel more appreciated and valued by your business. Secondly, customer interactions with business are non-linear and you cannot control the channel or time that a customer will reach out. They now demand and expect flexibility in how, when and where they can contact you. And I'm sure we can all think of examples where we've been frustrated in our interactions with a business where it's been constrained to specific hours of the day or specific days, and we're then unable to complete actions. And thirdly, self-service is so critical today. It helps businesses manage unpredictable spikes in customer need and meets customers' expectation for flexibility and the ease of resolving problems. However, all the steps you take for customer experience improvements can benefit hugely from incrementally removing data silos. So your customers can self-serve the status of an order or receive more personalized communications due to richer insights. And your speed to serve customers improves when internal teams have that visibility across business functions. I think at this point, it'd be great to take a look at the poll results. And I'm going to also bring up a survey from HubSpot of consumers' priorities. And you can see here that the key priorities are hopefully not a surprise, and keeping these in mind can help guide priorities around customer experience towards the right areas to help retain customers and drive advocacy. And just looking at the poll results.
Do you mean our poll results? And
yes, I'm just having a look at them now.
Okay, I just put some things in the chat, but I can just talk to present what was the most important things the people answered today. So which of these are the most important factors for your business today? This was the first question you asked, and number one of all these answers was with 30% meeting customer expectations is number one. And then we have many on the second step. It was managing environmental impacts and managing rising costs. So this was what the people said regarding most important factors. And when we look on which of these customer experience considerations are the most important for your business, like you stated in your wrap up, it was personalizing your communication with customers and removing internal data silos. So this were the top two answers from the audience.
That's great. I'm really especially pleased that meeting customer expectations was the number one priority today. But yeah, that hopefully, I'm sure all of these are priorities to an extent for most businesses. But the need to meet customer expectations and the rise in those expectations, I think, is particularly challenging, given it comes at the time of so much disruption within business, and the need to try to keep an eye on that whilst putting out fires is quite challenging. And yeah, also pleased that the removing internal data silos was recognised by a number of people as well, because that's there's a lot of potential gains to be made around meeting customer expectations. And I think at this point I was going to bring Yilmaz into the conversation for the Q&A.
Okay, so first of all, thank you very much, Andy, for your very interesting presentation and this deep dives in your customer projects. This was very fruitful for me to see what you are doing. And I like to engage our audience to use the chat function to ask questions for our guys from Boxfusion. But maybe I can just start with some questions regarding your presentation. Meeting customer expectations is very often seen from a business to consumer perspective. And I think your examples you showed us were very B2C orientated. What is about the B2B business? What are the differences in customer expectations, customer experiences, and how do you handle these with the software?
Yeah, it's a good question, Christian. I think it is easier to think about the B2C side, but ultimately, many of our customers are more in the B2B space. And I guess the first part of the answer is that everybody you're dealing with is ultimately a consumer anyway. They tend to have similar expectations. But yeah, the example I gave from Hermes, their customers through the sales process that they've been going through, all in the B2B space. So these are small, medium, or very large retailers in some cases who have the ability to make different buying decisions. There's a lot of competition in that space as to who they sign contracts with, and the need to be able to offer a high quality of service, be able to offer and meet SLAs that are at aggressive levels because of the competition in the market space. So there'll still be very difficult expectations, because those businesses will be having in mind their customers and their customers' expectations, and what ultimate service they're going to be able to provide. But yeah, it's easy to forget the B2B customer experience, but or not forget, but to deprioritize it behind the B2C. But it's many of the same considerations, and many of the solutions that we see being rolled out are the same. They're just slightly targeted differently.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you, Andy. Maybe, I don't know if this question is more to Yilmaz, but you showed us how to use artificial intelligence with this chatbots, and how they can communicate, interact with the customers. I think many of the processes are like iceberg under the sea, and one topic we often discuss is robotic process automation. What is about RPA in this customer integration projects you are doing here? Can we see some RPA stuff in this project?
Hi, Christian. I can
Hi.
answer that. So the context that we were talking about with the chatbots are primarily API-driven integrations. There is also the possibility to embed RPAs, or there are different vendors for RPAs, for robotic process automation, but the ones that we specifically delivered to our customers were around leveraging APIs, using the Oracle's bot platform in particular.
Okay, this sounds interesting. What is the Oracle bot platform? What can we do with this? Do I need to be a programmer to use the bot platform?
No, not necessarily. It is pretty much a low-code platform, but obviously, if you want to do advanced functionalities, then you may need to resort to some coding skills. But to get up and running, it's primarily a low-code platform.
I should say, Christian, that you may have noticed the chatbot was engaging in German in the video that I ran. Mm-hmm. I don't know how good the German was, because I didn't. It's not my.
It was good.
Good, because that was all native to the Oracle bot platform, so that comes as a standard language translation. So whilst I fed in my, we have a solution that we've delivered to other customers in English. You can then feed in, and it will self-learn and work with natural language processing, but in a number of languages out the box, including German. So I'm glad it seemed to read okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so as I said by introduction, you are an international company. You're working with Oracle, international, very big international software company, and I think 10 years ago, 20 years ago, we had this common prejudice that the US is very service orientated, and the old Europe, especially Germany, is not so service orientated. Do you see difference when you have projects with your customers all around the world, that there is, in some countries, there's more focus on customer experience than in others? And do you see also a difference between the industries?
It's a very good question. There's definitely a big difference between industries. That's definitely the case. I think one of the interesting things we see with geography, and we sometimes work with, so we work with a number of customers who have global operations, and so when you're delivering a customer experience solution, you might be working with a core team based in the UK, but they will absolutely have stakeholders in many countries that they have to satisfy, and that is interesting when you're then trying to come up with the right solution for a global brand that takes into account the sort of specific locale, the specific cultural differences, and yeah, sort of helping people to arrive at a common decision point. As much as possible, you can bring in variants for different geographies, so that but normally a company will want their brand to be relatively consistent. I think, yeah, but the first point, the different industry sectors, I think, you know, you'll get a huge variance in the attention to customer experience. I think there were the sort of older, more traditional industries paid less attention to it, and I think it's being disrupted now. I think one of the big things with cloud and digital innovation and transformation is the ability for small startups to come along and establish themselves very quickly and disrupt big industry players. I mean, Oracle have that challenge themselves, and we see when we implement solutions for customers now, more and more, you'll be talking to a customer and they'll have a solution for a chatbot, or they'll have a solution for integration, or a solution for X, Y, or Z, and it can often be a technology that you didn't know even a year or two ago. It's to be some new market entrant that's very niche but very good at what it does, and it's now more than ever important to be able to integrate effectively these different solutions, rather than say you need to take everything from one vendor, for example. Okay. I don't know if Yilmaz, if you had anything you would add to that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on the integration aspect, that it is crucial to achieve those goals. Also, just one other thing to add to in terms of differences in geographies and industry sectors, especially from the customer service angle. We did see that different industries and different geographies demand different channels of communication. So one industry can primarily would like to have VIP phone line, whereas the other one would be okay with an automated chatbot, versus another one would expose the channel of WhatsApp. So you need to be able to accommodate for all of these different channels as well.
Okay, thank you, Jonas. Jessica, do you have some talking points, questions towards Andy and Yilmaz?
Yes, indeed, I do have. Andy, my first question is, when a customer, a company is deciding to start this digital journey, and they are still fighting with the situation, or they're in the situation that they have to fight with isolated data silos and an interruption between back and front end. What is the best place to start such a project? What is your recommendation to such a company? Where to start?
Yeah, thanks, Jessica. I think I'll take a bit of this, and Yilmaz will probably jump in as well. But I mean, it's the first thing to say is we normally say start small. We sometimes talk about, you know, crawling before you can walk, walking before you can run. Not trying, because it can be very intimidating. Organizations that have sort of grown over, you know, a longer period of time can often have a lot of disparate systems that are very well established. There may have been a lot of investment in them. They may be perceived to be very, very difficult to change or to remove, and you know, very costly at the same time. But you can, and this would be where you can say, if a full-blown transformation is not an option at the moment for cost reasons, then you can start thinking more about these integrations and starting small and thinking about specific problems and pain points, and trying to build gradually from there, where applicable. So I think not being intimidated by the scale of an overall problem is important. So starting to break things down into smaller chunks. But Yilmaz, would you add anything? I mean, there are some elements probably that shouldn't be underestimated, but.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. My suggestion would be to try tackling the low-hanging fruits first. So like focusing on areas that would solve more problems, that could bring more tangible results with minimal upfront effort, just to get the backing of the business and the user base, because they actually would see the result happening. And one of the projects that we have done actually was a chatbot project. The use case was, there were a few use cases were shortlisted, and we were trying to kind of handle 80% of the queries with identifying these 1 or 2 use cases, automating these, essentially like delivering lots of saving on the customer service effort. So that was kind of the approach, to tackle the low-hanging fruits first, and to bring up the more tangible results in us.
Yeah, that's a very good example and point. That I should mention is that you can take quite a data-driven approach to decision making. So if you will have data that tells you, in that example, what are your key 80% of inquiries or problem types, and you can get that data, slice it up, and then figure out from there what you should be prioritizing from a customer experience perspective.
Okay. Jessica, do you have another question?
Yeah, and I received and noted down the same thing. It's about the lessons learned while implementing such a project. What are the main challenges you were facing, or what can you share as information to the audience? What's the lesson learned out of this project, and due to the current situation we are in 2 years ago in the pandemic, now into a nearly European war situation? Please share some informations.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, they're good questions. So I think in terms of lessons learned, I think every project and every business is different. So the challenges and the goals will be different, and you tend to learn different lessons each time. I think there's always, well, I mean, one lesson that's we've emphasized already a few times is not trying to do too much at once, because if you can show value quickly, tackle some problems quickly, and add demonstrate value from your investment quickly, then it starts to build momentum into the program of the work that you might be taking on. So not trying to do too much would be the number one lesson I'd emphasize. Number two, we should never underestimate data and data quality. Every organization will have different levels of issues with data, but taking the opportunity to have a look at that, keep it, doing any cleaning or deduplication or work on your data that might benefit the project, because I think there's sometimes a tendency to focus on the functional and rushing ahead to get that into place. But if you haven't figured out what data you have that's going to potentially trip up those processes when you launch, then you do run the risk of the project not giving you the results you were expecting. So we've seen that lesson coming out of projects as well. Yilmaz, would you add any other sort of critical ones?
On top of those, I think the integration touch points are quite key to identify those key integration touch points and kind of making sure that you cover them in the project. And I was going to highlight just to follow up on the data migration aspect Andy flagged. I think it's also important to identify internal business champions that would own that stream when you're running the project. So for a data steward team, or like a responsible person on the customer side or on your side, to actually own that data quality piece in a way.
Maybe one last question from my side, Andy and Yilmaz. We learned a lot about speed to market, and it's very important to have a fast and good solution to be competitive on the market. How fast can it be with your solution, the start?
Yeah, it very much depends on which aspect you're looking at. Most of the solutions can be stood up in a matter of weeks. When you're depending on how many integrations you need to build in into the back office, then the projects start to get a bit bigger. But Oracle's customer experience technology can all be implemented quickly, depending on the full breadth of what a business is looking to achieve. But as I said, we would normally recommend starting small anyway, so you get up and running in a matter of weeks, and then start to move into a beyond an initial phase and into a second and third phase. But there isn't one size fits all, unfortunately. But the absolute sort of paradigm for cloud implementations will be to keep delivering rapid, smaller packages of work to add value and realize value from the investment you've made in the technology.
Thank you.
Okay, so with regard or with respect to our schedule, thank you very much, you three, for your questions and for your interesting insights in customer experience, customer expectations in the logistics industry. I hope we all in the audience will learn very much from your presentations, because I think, of course, we have to get better in logistics to meet our customer expectations. And I think your software approach, your software from Oracle, will help us a lot to better understand and to meet better expectations for our customers. So thank you again very much. I think you all are ready for LinkedIn conversation if the audience liked, or with our platform. So
absolutely,
everybody can talk to you after this presentation if they like, and I hope to see you soon someday in how to say in English, in presence, in real, not only in 2D, so also in 3D. So take care, and
likewise.
see you.
Stay safe, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.